Alright, so this is a Mario Golf 64 tutorial video. I'm playing it on the N64, but the controls are basically similar on the Switch. It's nice that it's possible to play on Nintendo Switch Online at this point. I'm going to go ahead and start with character selection. Character selection from left to right is a matter of distance. You can hit the ball further. You can see the drive in terms of the number of yards going up as you go left to right. You won't even get some of the characters on the right until you unlock them through character matches, but your straight shooters are your shots just go straight, really, which makes it easier to aim. You've got your fade kind of players like Luigi. The ball's going to swing to the left and then swing back to the right. Now, normally that's not necessarily an issue, but it can change your trajectory, right? So if the ball ends up, if it's kind of an uphill shot, it may just end up on the left side on a fade. If it's downhill, it might really roll all the way down on the right on a fade. On the draw, the ball kind of goes in reverse. It curves to the right first, then goes to the left. If you're kind of new, you may want to play with someone that has more of a straight shot, like a Peach or a Yoshi or a Plum. Maple's pretty good, you know, in terms of that. If you want to go for distance, I mean, your draw players like Metal Mario, Bowser are going to be solid. Metal Mario is the best character in the game because of that distance. If you're able to control that draw, he's an amazing character. I'm going to go to, I'll choose Peach. I'll go to Stroke Play. The courses get harder from Toad Highlands all the way up. Blue Valley, for example, is a course that you don't want to have the ball fall off the course. There's a lot of out of bounds areas. I'm going to Toad Highlands to demonstrate, starting by just looking at the screen itself. Par 4, 363 yards, meaning you're expected to make the ball into a hole in 4 shots. Rest means how far the hole actually is. So there's always a set number of yards for a course. So par 4, 363, that's always what it's going to look like. The hole's going to be in a different spot at different times when you play. So you're not always going to get it in the same spot. 361 yards is where it is. That's how far we need to get it. Down 10 yards is the downhill. If it's uphill, we need to put more power in the shot. Downhill, we have to, well, we don't need to put as much power. So that's something to consider. On the top right is the wind. You will see that if you change directions, that wind direction changes. 12 meters, or 12 miles, I'm not sure exactly what it's supposed to be. I think it might be 12 miles per hour. Means that it's a pretty decent wind. So it's the ball's gonna drag further than what we would expect. Looking at the bottom right, or actually we'll start with the bottom left. You have normal shots and power shots. If you press B, you can change between them. Power gives you additional power on your shot. You get a certain number. You get 6 shots per 18 holes. If you end up landing a nice shot, you can actually keep that power shot and use it again. But you have to nail that perfectly for that to happen. If you go up and down the control stick, you can change the distance on the shot. So you can see that the yards go up and down. Something of note with these kind of what is on a golf course. Out of bounds is OB, and I'm pressing the R button, I should clarify, so I can kind of zoom in. OB, you don't want to do that. That means it's out of bounds, it's out of the golf course. You're going to get dinged 2 strokes, 2 shots on that. The goal in golf is to get the ball into the hole in as few shots as you can, so you don't want to do that. So you got some like, this part is kind of deep grass, it's called deep rough. You don't want to hit it there because it's going to be hard to get the shot out. Then there is kind of this darker area which is normal rough. Still don't want to get there, but you know, if you get there, it's not the end of the world. There are trees on the course and various things. You really don't want to have it behind the tree because it may be a little harder to get past the tree. You might even hit the tree. And then this is kind of the lighter green area is called the fairway. That is where you want to land it because you can get pretty good shots off afterwards in a fairway area. a high percentage of fairway shots means you're doing pretty well. And then again, that's the other direction. Now you can always have it zoomed in and use the control stick to go up and down to see how far you're aiming it. Also of note, bottom right, if you press the Z button or the equivalent it's either Z or L, you can kind of control where you hit the ball. If you hold down the Z button for the N64 and you go up, or if you go down, that's going to affect your shot. Again, right, left. Right's going to give you that that draw shot that kind of goes right and then curves left. Left is going to be the fade shot, which goes left and then goes right. If you go up, that's a topspin, meaning the ball's going to hit at a lower trajectory and kind of keep bouncing. So it's going to bounce a little further. Backspin is having it go down. That means that the ball is going to go higher in terms of trajectory, and then it's going to go not as far. So, but if you're new, you may just want to keep it neutral. I generally just keep it neutral anyway. And then, so you have different kinds of, if you go up and down the control stick, you have different kinds of clubs. You can go up or down to control that distance. I'm just going to go ahead. This is the driver. You want to just go hit it as far as you can because you have to get it 361 yards anyway. So I'm going to look at it in terms of, okay, the wind is kind of going a little bit kind of forward and a little to the left, so I'm going to aim it slightly off center and do it like this. You have to hit A twice to actually hit the golf ball and have it going. When I press A, it's going to look like this. So the green bar kind of moves up. You want to press A once to have the distance, and then you press A again to actually hit it so you don't whiff the ball. If you go down a club, you will see that that red line actually goes up. It means that you have more margin for error on not whiffing the ball as you hit it. You generally do want to have a little bit of a red line so that if you don't, basically you'd have to hit it exactly if there's not much of a red line, and you want to have some leeway for you missing on that. But at this point, I'm going to use it. I'm going to go ahead and press A twice. I'm going to try to get it as far as I can to that end of the green bar, so I can hit as far as I can, and then press A again as close to the gray bar as I can to hit it directly. So that was pretty close. You're going to see it kind of curve a little bit to the left and a little further. You can see how it extended past 223 feet, or 222 yards because of the wind, and also because it was downhill. Now we're going up a little uphill, but worse because, so that's probably still fine though, because of the wind. The wind's going to carry it a little further. Normally, I would want to hit it, if there was no wind, I'd probably want to use a 149 to hit it a little further than I think I would need. But at this point, with the wind being 12M, I'm going to go ahead and hit it like this, slightly to the right because there is some wind.
Nice shot!
So you can see the shot being pretty close, pretty good.
Nice on!
Birdie putts. Okay, so how putts work in this game. There's short, there's middle, and there's long. And I'm just pressing the B button to switch. It's not a control stick situation. This happens to be a pretty flat shot. This happens to be a pretty straightforward shot. But basically, if there's any kind of curve on it, you want to look at that grid. The grid is going to give you a little bit of a sense of whether or not there's a slope. But on this one, we're just going to go ahead and shoot this in. Generally, how I look in terms of distance is this is 30 feet. There are those short lines that kind of signal that where you're at 1/4, half, 3/4, or 30 feet of of that range. 8.55 is a little past 7.5 feet, which would be the quarter point. So I want to basically aim this about 1/3 of the ball. I'm just pressing A once. I don't have to press it another time.
Nice birdie.
So we've got 161 yards. This is a fairly straightforward one. If there was rain on that, for example, we would want to add some distance like that. But this one is downhill. The wind is even in our favor here. It's going to take it a little further because it's kind of going forward and to the right. That's where Boo is kind of facing. Whichever direction Boo is facing is what you want to look at. And it's also downhill, so we don't need 183 yards on this. We can take this down to 169 and may still go a little too far. But in the interest of the fact that maybe I'm not gonna get a nice shot on this, I might have a little less power. I'm just gonna go a little down, and I'm gonna aim it. I've shifted Peach a little to the left to account for the fact that the wind is going a bit to the right. Not the perfect release on that, but it's going to take us to the hole, and it almost is going to be a hole-in-one. I almost made a hole-in-one. Imagine that. Okay, so this is just a quick shot. It's just quick press A, and you're going to make it.
Nice birdie.
So that was not the best example to show because my shot was actually pretty accurate. I'm going to go and... Okay, so we have another par 4. Note, there are sections that have bunkers. You want to avoid those bunkers. And anything that gets you in the bunkers, you just want to scram. You want to get away from that. Okay, so 316 yards, right? It's not actually 343, it's 316. And then we've got the wind going against us to the left. So, and it's a bit downhill. So it's going to roll for a bit, but the wind is going to bring, because the wind's against us, it's going to be actually something that you want to kind of take to the right. So keeping in mind that the ball is going to end up going kind of to the left, we want to avoid those bunkers. We want to have a clear path to the green. I'm going to aim it really all the way out here, right? So that it can safely be on the fairway.
Nice shot.
Okay, so second shot we've got, let's take a look, 137 yards, right? It's uphill, so you want to take it a little further. Now the thing with this game is if it says 140 for the club and you're trying to get it 137, you may actually want to go a little further. You want to maybe put it up to 149 so you make sure you have the distance because there's some uphill as well. Greens are basically where the hole is. So you can see that it's an even lighter color. You definitely want to get it in the green area. And with the wind being way to the left, 14 is it's quite a bit. You want to aim it substantially to the right, kind of like this. The other thing to keep in mind is you have to clear a bunker here. So you really want to get it not 140, you probably want to get it 149. You might even consider doing like a little bit of backspin so that it like clears, but it doesn't go rolling. Balls really go rolling in the green because they're just so flat, so carefully, managed by golf courses. So I think I may even want to put some backspin on it. So I'm pressing Z, I'm holding down the control stick like this, and then I'm going to try to aim it, close to the 149.
Nice shot.
So I cleared the bunker, got it pretty close.
Nice on.
And this may be a good example of something that's not an entirely straight shot. So take a look closer. it's a 0.83 feet uphill, right? So we want to hit it more than the typical 17 feet because there's some uphill. You gotta factor that in. So we probably want to get it closer to what otherwise would be like 22.5 feet, which is like 3/4 of the way. And then you can see some red on the grid. That means it's a bit uphill. And then you gotta look closer at the lines. And it's actually kind of interesting because it's not quite a straight shot. You have to imagine the ball as you hit it before you even hit it, right? And this is not quite a straight shot. If you imagine yourself hitting it, it's going to be very slightly to the right. So I'm going to tilt my control stick very slightly like this. And now I tilted it slightly to the left so I can make this shot. So I'm going to go ahead and try to make the shot from here. And go for 3/4 this time. And now it's a straight shot, as you can see. So that's just a quick little tutorial for Mario Golf 64. The controls I mentioned are on the N64, but the Switch controls are basically the same relative to the L button on the Switch is really the Z button on the N64, and then the C buttons. So I press C down, for example, to kind of move my zoom in a little bit. That's just the right control stick on the Switch. But that's kind of a basic tutorial on how to play Mario Golf 64.